Welcome back to Munchausen's Proxy, where we were working on getting the next installment of DC Comics on film ready when a news item popped up on the radar. An article in Forbes titled, "Disney Star Wars Box Office Profits Fail to Cover Cost of Buying Lucasfilm" by Carolyn Reed. In the article, Reed goes over a presentation Disney itself produced in order to shore up Bob Iger's regime at Disney ahead of the stockholders' vote for a new board. Within that presentation, one of the points it boasted about Iger's reign at the House of Mouse was the, quote, spellbinding return on investment generated by the franchises that Disney acquired under Iger, unquote. This includes Lucasfilm's Star Wars. The presentation implies that the Star Wars sequel trilogy generated a 290% return on investment against the purchase price of Lucasfilm. Alas, Disney's history of shady accounting practices seems to have reared its ugly head once more. When one looks into the methodology behind this claim, it is quickly revealed that they are basing that solely on the box office performance of the sequel trilogy, the two spin-off movies, merchandising, and DVD and Blu-ray sales. The shady part is that in none of that math does the costs Disney paid out for each of those categories come into play. In other words, that 290% number is solely revenue brought in, not profits. Digging deeper into the numbers reveals that Disney has spent $2.1 billion, with a B, just on making the 5 movies released by Lucasfilm under Disney. The biggest outlay being the $567.3 million they spent producing The Force Awakens, followed closely by The Rise of Skywalker at $542.4 million. Given the huge budgets for those movies, this means that The Force Awakens only made about $560 million, despite the movie doing over $2 billion at the box office. Rogue One cost much more than it was supposed to, meaning the profits on the $1 billion the movie made only came to just over $280 million. The Last Jedi brought in a bit over $345 million, Solo lost nearly $100 million, and the massive amount of money spent to make The Rise of Skywalker means that even though it brought in over $1 billion, it didn't even make $90 million in profit for Disney and Lucasfilm. Ignoring the fact that Lucasfilm was bought to get Disney into the boys and men's toy and entertainment market, and Kathleen Kennedy has done everything in her power to make it a girl/women's brand, the fact that the studio was one of the early proponents of the marketing strategy known as fan baiting basically chased away over half of the Star Wars fan base between the release of the promising, deeply derivative, and extremely flawed The Force Awakens, and the release of the moronic abomination that was The Rise of Skywalker, assured that profits on Star Wars became a dwindling number. All of that is to say that by the time the 5th Disney Star Wars movie released, they were still $2.8 billion short of recouping the purchase price of Lucasfilm. And that is not even counting the other losses, like the abortion known as Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, or the billion-dollar Galaxy Star Cruiser hotels that were shuttered after only a year in business, or the cratering sales of Star Wars merchandise in both the collector's market and the retail market. And then there are the costs involved in producing the Lucasfilm Disney Plus content, the only one of which that has been an unmitigated hit was the first season of The Mandalorian. Season 2 started that series' fall, and by Season 3 it was a disaster. All of the other series were somewhere between terrible and execrable. Include the stunningly brave but quickly canceled Willow series, and streaming has been a money pit for Lucasfilm. Despite this trend for Disney Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy is still announcing movie after movie, series after series, with none of them actually being made over the last 5 years since the release of The Rise of Skywalker, except for the Disney Plus content. The latest slate of movies include a Mandalorian and Grogu film, a new Rey movie, an Origin of the Force movie, and a New Republic movie that is supposed to connect all of the D+ Star Wars series. None or all of them could be made, knowing Kathleen Kennedy's penchant for announcing projects that are never heard from again. Star Wars was always a movie brand. Since the debacle of the sequel trilogy, however, a gun-shy Kennedy has turned it into a streaming brand, and a not very good one at that. Whether the new slate of announced movies will happen is anyone's guess. Bob Iger, however, should long ago have started to wonder what the hell Lucasfilm is doing, given the proven money-making machine it was under George Lucas, and should have been with the financial and marketing backing of Disney. To date, and despite what Bob Iger and Disney would have you believe, Star Wars has been a losing proposition for the House of Mouse. And given the direction some of the other Iger acquisitions have gone, will they be alone in being a drag on Disney for much longer? See my ongoing series of videos titled, "Is Bob Iger Retarded?" for details on that. That is all I have for you this video. If you like what I do here, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and comment down below. It helps out the channel with the algorithm and is greatly appreciated. Still working on getting that DC Comics on Film video written up and put together, so it will be a bit longer for that. Until then, tschüss.